this is it. The all opera version of our spoiler.
Stop. No.
I thought we were gonna do.
No. No opera.
No opera?
No. No.
Runaway Puppet?
No.
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 Okay. All right. This is our spoiler discussion for Solo, a Star Wars movie. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we're here with Pop Pop Fizzle to talk about Solo, a Star Wars story. We just did our non-spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie yet, we suggest you go over and click on that instead. We'll put that in the...
Don't watch this yet until you see the movie.
You don't want to spoil
This is
yourself.
your warning.
But we'll put a link in the description for the non-spoiler. If you haven't seen the movie yet, just stop this right now, hop down to the description and click that link instead. But if you have seen the movie, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I mentioned in the non-spoiler review that I was thoroughly impressed. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this film. It felt like a heist film to me, set in the Star Wars universe. The one question for me going in was whether or not I would see this actor as Han Solo. Okay. It's hard to think of Han Solo being anyone other than Harrison Ford.
This is true. But, I found that from certain angles, from certain swagger, from certain lines, he filled the role pretty well. I could see that as a young baby-faced Han Solo.
Exactly. And to me, this helps probably just from my perspective a little bit. Growing up reading comics, you like a character like Spider-Man, right? And so you read Spider-Man comics and you know what Peter Parker looks like and you know what Spider-Man looks like. But then 10 issues in, you get a new artist. Mm-hmm. And that artist draws Peter Parker a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And he draws Spider-Man a little bit differently. I mean, they're the same. You know it's Peter Parker and you know it's Spider-Man. But they still look a little bit different, right? So Steve Ditko Spider-Man and Steve Ditko Peter Parker does not look like John Romita Sr. Spider-Man or Peter Parker, or John Romita Jr. Peter Parker and Spider-Man for what that's worth. But so for me it was like that, like yes, this was not Harrison Ford. However, there were certain mannerisms, squint to the eye, certain line deliveries,
angles of the camera shot.
Certain things like that brought me into thinking of him as Han Solo, and it didn't take long. I felt like by the 15 minutes in or so, I was in. I was there.
Definitely.
It certainly helped to have his interactions with Chewie. I felt like that was helpful to build that rapport and to see those interactions felt more like what were familiar, what was familiar to me. So I was really pleased that they got that right.
Yes.
And I thought the casting all around in this film was done really well.
I thought that was really great. I really enjoyed, now obviously I'm not the deepest of the deep Star Wars fan, but I'm aware of the expanded universe and different backstories.
She's pretty deep.
I'm not that deep.
You're fairly deep.
I'm really not. But, I like that. I'm sure there's plenty. So how about this? I'm sure there's plenty that I missed, but I like that they had a nod to Han Solo being part of the Empire because that was part of the expanded universe. I like that, he met Chewie, the Kashi, they were the spice mines, all the, just, there's a lot. But that one especially was just, I was like, because I argued all this time Han Solo was part of the Empire, and you're like, no, that's not part of this, not part of canon. It is now.
Because it wasn't. Yeah.
It is now.
And then even stuff like Crimson Dawn. I mean, these are things that we've heard in other parts of the Star Wars lore. So nice to see that reference on the big screen.
Definitely.
I felt like, as we said in the non-spoiler review, solid heist film.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed those elements of it, and it had a steady pace. Like there wasn't really a point where I felt like it slowed down to the point where I was like, all right, let's move it along.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the ride home. So a lot of the times we try to tell each other that we're not going to talk about it on the ride home, and I think we actually almost got away with it. There were a couple of things that we threw out, but that was one thing I thought about, was that there was not a point where I thought the pacing was off, wrong, or slow. I thought that everything kind of worked in a really good manner, and I think we could probably owe that to Ron Howard being a competent filmmaker, as Jeff has
Right.
said. So I feel like he probably took what was there and whatever the reshoots were and made sure that all the pieces fit together, the action shots, the dialogue, and all of that. I thought they did really great with that.
I was a little bit worried when they cast Woody Harrelson that I wouldn't be able to see past Woody Harrelson to enjoy his character, but I found. Yeah, I found that even though Woody Harrelson is always kind of Woody Harrelson,
This is true.
that he fit with the feeling of this movie in such a way that it didn't take me out. I didn't think of him as being Woody Harrelson.
Being in a Star Wars movie.
Being in a Star Wars movie. He just became the character because...
This is sort of
just
character
the
he
feeling,
plays.
just the feeling of the film in general was what you would expect kind of from a solo movie. It was laid back. It was flying by the seat of his pants. It was
gritty.
Yeah, a little gritty, witty, that kind of thing. And so he fit into that really well.
Really well.
I thought Donald Glover as Lando was great. I thought he did a great job.
Definitely could be a young Billy Dee. Definitely could be. I thought that was fun and interesting the way that Han and he interacted. So I thought that was great.
I thought Emilia Clarke's character, Kira, we got her early on. I was kind of surprised by that because from seeing the trailers,
we didn't think she was going to be.
We only saw her at the point that she entered later in the film,
right?
So I didn't realize that she had a connection to Han until we watched the film. I thought that was an interesting angle that I didn't see coming.
I don't know. I feel like I wasn't super surprised by it, but I know it wasn't in the trailers, so I don't know what I was expecting with her. So
right,
yeah. But I mean, it was a good way to make sure she had a tie in the movie. So.
I will say, sorry, tired. I will say that the one character that didn't do it for me, and I mentioned this in the non-spoiler, but I didn't really go into detail or say who it was, that didn't work for me was L3. And I think because Star Wars has such a strong history of droids that you come to love.
Yeah. I think they were trying to make her a little more abrasive, a little less likable.
Right, so, but
I still liked her.
Yeah, I mean, I like the design of the robot for sure.
Droid, honey.
Yes, well, whatever.
Okay. But the thing is, I thought, it was interesting to see a droid from a different perspective, a droid that had a perspective, but they didn't really work super hard to have us love her. Like, everybody loves BB-8. I think anybody who doesn't like BB-8 is very suspect.
Well, and even K2SO.
Yeah, he was just a lot of fun.
Was an outside sort of hit from Rogue One.
Yeah.
People really came to like that particular droid. This droid, I did, the one thing I did really like was the sort of making her a part of the ship, because it explains then why
the Millennium Falcon
means so much to Lando.
Yeah.
That he still thinks of it as his ship, and that he so readily is able to be on board and when Han's out of the picture.
This is so.
So it adds a lot of to what we already know, to the lore that we already know.
So getting back to the whole not needing to know the characters' backstories and their deep dive histories, we got a lot of just kind of, it filled in the blanks more than anything else. Like, we didn't get a deep dive on Han Solo's parents. We didn't get...
Right, his dad got a mention.
Yeah, his dad got a mention, nothing else.
And that, too, I thought added to the lore and to the understanding of why the Falcon means something to him.
Yeah.
That his dad built those, and that... so for him, it's like a connection to
exactly.
to his past.
But the friendship between Han and Lando, why the Millennium Falcon is one of the best ships, is despite looking like garbage. We don't get exactly how Chewbacca knows how to fly, but we get that he's old enough to know, and we got that from the trailers. He's been around.
What did you think of the origin of Solo? Is his last name?
I don't know how Latin got a part of this universe, because if it was a galaxy a long time ago, far, far away, Solo, though we all know what it means, is definitely an archaic Earth language. So I'm not sure how that works.
Well, I mean, I think that with a lot of Star Wars, you just have to check at the door.
Just go with it. All right, so I a bit on the nose, but I didn't hate it. It was
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, they're playing cards and have dice and stuff. So
This is
it's
so.
like,
All right, fine. I didn't hate it. I mean, I guess maybe I didn't need to know that, but
I didn't need to know it, but it also didn't throw me out
No.
of it either. I felt like the introduction of Chewie to Han was
Great.
a fun
yeah, that was
fun
great.
way of doing that, and I really felt like the whole building of their sort of partnership made sense because it wasn't forced and overdone. It was just like they just had an easy time of communicating with each other and an easy sensibility about them and sometimes that's how friendship works. Sometimes you just fall in with somebody and it just clicks and it just works,
just
and
go
so
with
you
it.
go with it.
Yeah.
The moment where Chewie sits in the co-pilot seat or whatever it was a big moment, and the music was there, and it was just like, that's a great moment.
That was great.
So thank you, Ron Howard, for giving us that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there were a lot of little moments like that. That was like, that as you watch, you were like, okay, that's a good moment. That's a big moment.
I love seeing those dice, though. A lot of callbacks there, too. It was really nice to see where they came from, or at least where they started. So, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, you really need to. But those dice play a little part in there, too. So
don't be a hater.
Yeah.
And then before we wrap this thing up, because we don't want to make this video too long, there was a big cameo that we did not know anything about.
Yeah, great for being non-spoiled. So really, if you watch up to this point and you haven't seen it, just stop it. This is the big one.
Right. Now, we are fans of Star Wars Rebels, and we have made our way through, I think, the majority of Clone Wars, or at least I know I have.
You have. I have not, but that's okay.
So there's so much history there, especially with the character of Maul, who survived the Phantom Menace,
Yes.
and came back to cause lots of problems in lots of different arenas.
So surprise to all you
throughout
people,
the Clone Wars and through Rebels.
Yeah, for all you people who didn't watch the cartoons, just go watch them because it's important and it's part of canon.
Yeah, and so we got to see Maul as the head of the Red Dawn. Is that right? Red Dawn?
Crimson Dawn.
Sorry.
Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Of Crimson Dawn.
Red October.
With one of those things.
Red Hot.
Red Dawn Wolverines, with the saber that we saw him with in those animated episodes, with his cyborg legs, all of that, and it was Ray Park beneath all that makeup playing Maul once again. No longer Darth Maul, just Maul.
Just Maul, but the voice of.
Well, no, it was the voice of Ray Park, I think, but
it wasn't. I watched the credits on purpose.
Oh, you did?
I did. It was the guy who did the voice on Rebels.
Okay.
I'm pointing because our TV's in the other room that way.
Whose name escapes me? Sam Witwer. Yeah.
Yeah. He played the voice.
Wow.
Ray Park was.
I did not see that.
It was fantastic. That's why I wanted to stay for the credits.
Because I said to Heidi before we left that one of the few things that I said before we got home was that I loved that he was portrayed as the Maul that we were familiar with from those animated series. That he was a little bit off, a little bit crazy, a little bit a little bit deranged,
a little bit robotic,
a little more dangerous.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So
good on Sam. Good on Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
And also, the voice of Zeb from Rebels was definitely one of those stormtroopers there. I didn't see him in the credits, but he was for sure. I'd recognize that voice anywhere because he's also Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop and all that sort of stuff. Name escapes me. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. Please don't at me. But any other moment were it not 2 a.m, I would know his name, but it's just escaping me right now. But yeah, so lots of really cool gems there. But seeing Maul in this persona that we have only seen animated up until this point, and just going, wow! I mean, it was a really
it was a really great moment.
And honestly, I left the theater. Going into the theater, somebody was like, "We don't need this movie. I don't need to know any backstory or whatever." I don't know how much time between this movie and A New Hope there is. However,
I feel like
if they give us another movie wherein we see more Crimson Dawn and we see the fallout of Kira going off that direction and
A little more Maul.
And a little more Maul and some, Han falling into league with the Hutts and all of that. I mean, I think I could be down with that.
Yeah,
I really think that would
really,
make an interesting.
It was a really so that's the thing for me. It was a really great connector. Like it wasn't like so.
But it wasn't like Rogue One in that we knew
how it would end
as we went in, and that we sort of knew the basic story. They were just filling in gaps.
Right.
This was, we didn't know this. We didn't really need to know it, but it fills in some lore, and it picks up some pieces of lore that we didn't know were necessarily connected to Han Solo.
Right. And what was really great, I thought, was that there wasn't like any like immediate connection to everything that happened in the main Skywalker saga. It was just like little things, like we heard about the Hutts on Tatooine, and we heard about we saw Maul, so that was kind of part of that area, that arena. It was like, but it wasn't ever anything directly connected to it. So I thought that was really nice. So
there were several.
They weren't trying too hard to force it in.
Yeah, there were several little things that I thought were fun that weren't big, like see what we did there, see what we did there, but that still meant something. Like Lando saying mining colonies are the worst, because we know he's bound for one. We know he's gonna be in charge of one.
Yeah.
I was a little bit curious if we would see like Lobot show up, as a guy from
not
City.
Not yet.
But yeah, so I thought all of that, those little moments were not over the top. I think those, had C-3PO or R2-D2 popped up, I would have been like, come on.
Or Darth Vader.
I would have been like, okay.
No.
This doesn't need to be here.
No.
This is you trying to sell us this movie.
Yeah, too hard.
I didn't feel like they needed that, and I was glad that they didn't have that
Same.
Maul was a surprise, and a good surprise.
And it didn't take up that much time, so I felt like it was just like, and then you heard what he had to say, and that's it. And it was fantastic.
Right. So if they give us another solo film that follows up with this one, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with filming it as long as they
keep the.
As long as they don't make it about Han like filling in the backstory. I don't need to know about his parents. I don't need to know about anything more about how he grew up. I mean, he was a street rat, whatever.
That's enough.
That's enough. I don't need to know any more than that.
Yeah.
But if they continue here and build his relationship with Chewie and build stuff with the Hutts and just sort of stay in that criminal underworld side of things, I'd be happy to see more.
We hear stuff about the Empire in the background, and we kind of can.
But they weren't a heavy presence.
They were not a heavy presence, but it was nice to just kind of like hear it. It was happening, but this was completely a story in itself.
I liked a little bit of the Imperial March as the pro, signing up for the Empire.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome! It was like a major key Imperial March. I was like, wow.
Yeah, like we're the heroes in this galaxy.
Yeah, it was
pretty nice little turn there.
And also kind of like eerily reminiscent of the Starship Troopers stuff.
Yeah,
that was kind of fun. Yeah.
So overall, I felt like Ron Howard did a great job. I don't know what he had to work with. I don't know when he came into this after Lord Miller's departure. I don't know.
Super curious about what.
I don't know whether they salvaged like 10% or 20 or 50 or what, but I do know that Ron Howard served us up a fine really Star Wars film.
Really fine and fun Star Wars film. I am very curious if we'll ever get to see anything that didn't make it, like from the other cut, but I don't really care because I really enjoyed this. It was everything I was hoping it would be, and I was worried because of some of the reviewers who were like, didn't care for it as much, and I was worried that it wouldn't be what I was hoping for, and it totally was. So definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what some of the people who did not like this casting choice and who thought that they weren't going to buy into him as Han Solo. I'm very curious now if any of them have changed their mind, because I didn't have a problem with the casting. You're never going to replace Harrison Ford. You're never going to be able to cast someone who convinces you that they are Harrison Ford. All you're able to do is cast an actor who's able to understand the character and try to inhabit it the best way he can, like every James Bond has ever done.
Right.
And so that's what I feel like he did. Like he understood the character. he jumped in. Now, how much work they did with him behind the scenes to get him to understand the character, I don't even care.
No,
because
he did
what
it.
matters is that he did it,
Yeah.
and he pulled it off. And so I felt like he did a really good job.
I did too.
And I'm happy to see him continue to play the character if they want to do more of these movies.
Same.
Anyway, that's it for our spoiler discussion. We'll let you go. If you have seen the movie, I assume you have, or you wouldn't be watching this, let us know in the comments below. What did you think about the movie? What were some of your favorite parts? This is a spoiler video, so it's okay to use spoilers in the comments. And then we can start some conversation happening there. If you like this video, you know what to do.
Hit that thumbs up.
And subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep doing stuff like this, as well as trailer reactions and our really unhelpful movie review. We got some more of those coming down the line, as well as some kids stuff, and who knows what we'll do next. But in the meantime, if you are already subscribed to the channel, click that little bell icon. That way you can be notified the next time we drop something. And until the next time,
Bye.
may the Force be with you.